I just made a recent Substack post because things going on lately are just needing to be talked about. Quite a few things, actually. Yesterday, um, and this kind of shows like the way I am so diverse, if you will, as far as my content. Yesterday, there was a post that was made by a photographer by the name of Jana Marcus that was wildly racist. And it was comparing Sheila Adams' Akasha and Aaliyah's Akasha. Things like microaggressions lead up to things like Nolan Wells' disappearance and then discovering his deceased body after he was supposed to be with friends enjoying a holiday weekend. And then when we look at literary figures and heroes like Anne Rice, there's just so much to unpack, which is why I made a Substack, because I knew that a reel was not going to be enough. The bottom line is what Jana said was 100% completely racist. Then the fake apology that she issued after the fact, again, the screenshots are in the Substack description if you guys want to check and see for yourselves. Um, it's all absurdity and insanity that people actually think that they can just delete, while at the same time these types of things lead into others normalizing racist behavior, microaggressions, and biases that end up costing brown and black lives over and over and over again. At what point do people realize that if you have to cover up your face, if you have to rewrite what you originally posted, if you have to erase things because you feel guilty about something that you did, the correct thing to do is to apologize, take accountability, leave it for everyone to see, and to learn a lesson so that you can do better when you go forth to decide to be a better person. Because, as I discuss in the episode, when a person recognizes the greatness of eloquence of a wonderful literary hero such as Anne Rice, yet uses the dehumanizing language that was used describing Sheila Adams' hair, when we know that Black women have discussed how they have felt pressurized to lighten their skin, to straighten their hair in order to conform to white beauty standards set by fascists, no less. No. And for a photographer to do that and then to erase countless other people, holding them in check from the narrative because they're ashamed of what they said, is exactly the height of hypocrisy. To discuss Anne's character, who you know to be an African Egyptian queen, and her hair being actually authentic to the styles that hairdressers would dress a queen's hair in during that time period, and referring it to this way, no, not acceptable. And then the actions after the fact are even worse. So yeah, I'm going to discuss that because as someone that believes in being anti-racist every day, we have an obligation to hold people accountable and put them in check for things like this, and to not let it be swept under the rug. Because when we don't, is when people get this idea in their head that these are just jokes or it's just playing. These kind of dehumanizing and debasing behaviors literally cause people to perish. People lose their children and their loved ones because of things like this. It's not a joke. And if you recognize what great articulation is, then you can understand the scope and the severity of using language that is so derogatory, especially when you're trying to do a comparison and speaking about theater and theater arts and literary arts. There is no excuse. Do better so that we don't have more Nolan Wellses out there.